Have you ever been a victim of a scam? Have you ever been taken advantage of by somebody? Has anybody ever ripped you off? And sometimes not even know it. You find out later. Taken advantage of. And that means maybe even by family too. I'm not excluding family. Family, friends. If something like that's ever happened to you, stay with me to the end of this video. This happens all the time. I mean, sometimes we see it, it's right in front of our eyes and we don't recognize it. And it's getting worse now because of AI. AI is making this a whole different world out there right now. And you got to be on your toes because you could be taken advantage of so many times and you don't even know it. I mean, back when I was probably around 30, this channel, if this is an over 60s channel, but if you're younger and you're hanging out here, this might not surprise you, but an interesting fact, back in the music industry, back in 1990s music industry, I think it was 1990. Milli Vanilli. If you've ever heard of Milli Vanilli, if you haven't ever heard of Milli Vanilli, look up some of their music. This was a duo band, or not even a band, it was a duo. There were singers and dancers. There were a couple of good-looking guys who came out with some songs in the 1990s, and they blew up on the charts. They blew up. Let me just list some of the awards that they won. American Music Awards, they won 1 Grammy. American Music Award, let me list out some of the things that they won. They won Favorite Pop Rock, New Artist, Favorite Soul R&B, New Artist, Favorite Pop Rock Song, Girl, You Know It's True. Girl, you know it's true. If you know the song, you know what I'm talking about. Blew up, they were it. They were the thing, man. They were everywhere. But the thing about Milli Vanilli was they were scammers. They were hucksters. They were grifters. And was it their fault? Well, some guy had this bright idea that he was going to get this duo. They were 2 professional dancers, so they had the dance moves, they had the look, and all he did was he hired some artists who wrote the songs, sang the songs, and then these 2 were going to go out and just lip sync. And they won a Grammy, and they won all kind of awards. New Artist of the Year, Soul, Pop Rock, Best Song of the Year. These guys were killing it. But the thing about it was, they were cheaters, liars, scammers, hucksters. They used us. Well, they eventually got caught. After a while, they eventually got caught. It was in one of their performances, and the music started skipping. But you know what? That's what started it. But because, you know, there's artists out there that lip sync to some of their songs, and I don't begrudge them for doing that. You don't have to listen. You don't have to be a live performer all the time. I mean, some of the best artists around lip sync to some of their music. And you know, it is what it is. You go to a concert and you hope that these guys are going to be authentic and they're going to sing their songs without backtracks, without lip syncing. And most do. You know, and some artists out there have never wrote a song, and some of their top songs in history have been written for them, which is fine too. Yeah, you got a good voice, you got the look, you got the it factor, then hey, good for you. I mean, if you can write a song, hey, that's even better. That's even more to your benefit, I guess. So it just makes you a real creator, makes you a real artist. I mean, some of Tom Petty's biggest hits weren't written by him. They were co-written by him and Jeff Lynne of ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. And if you're old like me, you'll know who I'm talking about. But Jeff Lynne had his own band, Electric Light Orchestra, and he wrote for all kind of people. He wrote songs for Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, Roy Orbison. I mean, the list goes on and on. Tom Petty, like I said, some of Tom Petty's top hits were actually co-written with Jeff Lynne of ELO. And then in return, Tom Petty wrote a song for, I think, Jeff Lynne, if I'm not mistaken, at one point. But it's a collaboration. I don't begrudge that. That's artists combining their talents together to come up with a great song. But it's a little different when you have someone get out there on stage and they're not singing, they're just performing to somebody else singing. Somebody else is singing for them. When it happened, I remember when it happened, and it all came tumbling down on him. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe this, but I guess I can believe it. Because you know, there's scams out there. People are taking advantage of us, or people want to take advantage of you. There's so many people in this world that are users and takers and scammers and grifters and hucksters, snake oil salesmen, if you will. I mean, it all started way back in the day with snake oil. People putting in a little bit of alcohol with a little bit of pepper or something like that, and then saying it cures cancer. And people were eating it up, just like now with this AI going on. People are eating up some of these content creators out here that are not authentic. They're hucksters. They're takers. They're Milli Vanillis. I'm gonna call them Milli Vanillis. Some of these guys out there are Milli Vanillis. This AI stuff is getting really scary. I mean, Milli Vanilli was one thing in the 90s, but now AI, do you know that there's tons and tons of songs that are completely AI generated that have made it to the top 10 list, top number 1? There's a country band, well, it's not even a band, it's an AI band called Breaking Rust, I believe. He hit number 1 in the country music chart. There's another one, some other artist, can't even think of their name right now, but they hit number 1 in gospel. And the list goes on and on and on. And they're completely AI generated. There's no artist, it's just a guy behind a computer or girl, and they're completely made up songs. They even have videos out, and if you look at them, you can kind of tell, if you're into that, you kind of, like I'm kind of into this kind of stuff, so I can kind of tell still, but it's getting to where every month it gets a little better. You can't even tell, like you think it's the real singer. And people comment, oh my gosh, it's the best song I've ever heard. Oh, look at the guy's crying when he's singing. Oh my God. No, I'm like, I wanted to scream at this and just jump through the screen and shake these people and go, look, no, it's AI. That's not real. That's all fake. They're hucksters. They're hucksters. They're not real. That's not a real singer. That's not a real creator sitting down at a piano or with a guitar and coming and writing down lyrics. No, it's completely AI. Completely AI. Just like these guys, these creators on YouTube. You know, these are my words. No, they're not your words. AI is so good that they will remember what you talked about 2 months ago and incorporate that in. I talk to AI all the time like it's a real person. I have to catch myself. I tell them thank you when I'm done. If I ask them a question about something, hey, what about this? So do you have any what do you think what would be a good title for my YouTube video? What would be a good thumbnail? You have any ideas? And they'll give me ideas. And I'll say thank you. And they're like, no problem, Dave. If there's anything else I can do for you, you let me know. Good luck on your video. And I'm like, what? Like I'm talking to this person like it's a person. I'm talking to AI like it's a person. It's not even a female or a male. I mean, you could even make them give them voices and I'll talk back to you. You can give them a British accent. Or Australian. I think I'd want an Australian accent, honestly. I'm kind of digging the Australian accent. Anyway, you just got to be careful. Hucksters, snake oil salesmen everywhere. It's depressing. I mean, like AI, some of the AI stuff. But YouTube is cracking down on all that. But I'm talking about people, authentic people, a real person who's just getting AI to write them a script and they just read it. And they don't even hide that they're reading it. They're just sitting at a bench reading it off a script, and they will defend themselves, and they have defended themselves. This one guy's already defended himself because it's starting to come down on him a little bit, and he's, oh no, I write it all. No, let me tell you something. You're not writing that script. He keeps telling everybody that it keeps him on point. He used to use, he came clean the other day on one of his recent videos that he used to use bullet points, and then it was just him talking. No, it wasn't. It was AI talking, but that's whatever. Now he came on and he made a in one of his videos, he made a quick little disclosure that he just wanted to make something clear. That he really doesn't use bullet points anymore. He does write his scripts out, but it's his scripts and he's just reading it because it just keeps him from rambling and fumbling. Yeah, you ramble, you fumble when you're authentic. But this guy's putting out content every single day. He's putting out so much content, I am suspicious. I'm just suspicious that he's not a huckster, that he's not scamming you. But people eat it up because he's telling stories that people want to hear. And people eat it up. People even come to his defense. When people come say negative things or leave him a negative comment, people will come to his defense. And that's how much these people are falling for these scammers out there. Now, if you want to read a script, that's fine. Read a script. Hey, if you can make money off of YouTube doing it, go for it. I mean, people are making money off of worse things. I guess people are making money off of worse things. But it makes some of us that struggle with YouTube to get views, to get subscribers, it kind of depresses you a little bit. Like I can see it. Why can't these other people see through it? And they just don't care. I mean, you can be a news person. A lot of these news people, when you watch the news, they got a good voice. They got the look. They're pretty. They're handsome. They've probably been to school for journalism. They know how to do it. They know how, their cadence, their talking. They've got rid of filler words. They know how to do all that. But really what they're doing is just reading the script. They're just reading the prompter, the news prompter, the prompter. That's all they're doing. That's okay. We put up with that. We don't think that's wrong. Everybody watches news. Well, not everybody, but if you watch news, most of the time they're just reading the script. You know, there's some news will get off the script and be authentic. But you got to be careful with AI, especially nowadays. AI is scary. I mean, they've gotten so scary that if a huckster, a scammer wants to make money off you, there's one out there right now that's been taking people for a lot of money. And what they do is these scammers will go in and they'll scrape somebody's YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and get their voice. They'll get a little information, because they can get information like when you were born, like year you were born, whatever, about your age, your name, all that kind of stuff. They will get somebody, they'll find out how, I don't know how they do it, but they're very good at it. They will call their grandparents and say, in their voice, because AI is so good, it'll sound just like their granddaughter or grandson. And they'll say, look, I just got arrested. I need $3,000. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't want to tell mom, or whatever they say. Can you send me $3,000? And then they'll give them a PayPal, or they'll give them a link or something, or tell them to go to so-and-so and send the money. And people are falling for it. I mean, you be careful. In our family, we've already talked to our in-laws and our kids. We have words. We have certain words that only we know, that we ask if anything like that happens to us and we feel like we're getting scammed. Okay, what's the word? Tell me what the word is. And if they can't tell us what that word is, well, then you might be getting scammed. But you never know. I mean, look at magicians. Look at magic tricks. These guys do things that are unbelievable, incredible. Like, how do they do that? There's no way. They must be telepathic. They must be an alien. They must be like inhuman, because they're doing things that are impossible. How did they get that dollar bill to go through that window? How did they get that coin out of that bottle? But there's been magicians out there now that are coming online, you know, covering their face up, of course, and giving up secrets. And some of the magicians are furious because now they're giving up all their secrets. You got to be suspicious of all these people. You know, even it happens in, you know, churches, and they're not immune to this kind of stuff. You know, faith healers, they're gonna heal you. Come to the church service on so-and-so date, and if you got any kind of ailment, we're gonna, you know, if you're blind, you'll see. If you can't walk, you'll walk. You know, I'm suspicious. I'm just suspicious, and quite a few of them have been caught. Quite a few of these have been caught, red-handed. And it's all a magic trick. A lot of that stuff is just a magic trick. You know, not against religion. Hey, if you believe whatever you want to believe, but I can't imagine that if you ask the guy upstairs to help you find your keys, and you find your keys, and you say, see, he helped me find my keys. You know, I'm just suspicious. I'm suspicious because what about that mom and dad that are on their hands and knees and they're begging the guy upstairs to save their little 5-year-old from dying, because they're dying of cancer. And they're dying within a week or two. And nothing's done. And then they'll say, well, that's God's plan. And you know, maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. But you got to be careful. Be careful. Be careful. You got to have your head on a swivel. You got to be careful what happens. You got to be careful of the scams that are prevalent, and AI is going to make it worse. AI is going to make scams much easier than anything else. It's going to be far easier to scam people now. And people get taken, you know, very smart people get taken advantage of, you know. So don't get scammed by a Milli Vanilli. That's all. That's what I'm going to call them. I'm going to call these content creators that are reading scripts Milli Vanillis. They're just a Milli Vanilli. So if you keep watching the channel, if you hear me say something about a Milli Vanilli, you know what I'm talking about. All right, you know what I'm going to say. Got to say it because they tell me to. All these gurus tell me to say it. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a like, give me a hit that bell, and subscribe to the channel. Most of these guys don't say it's free, but it is free. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Some people some people think that if you subscribe to this channel, that it's going to cost you something. No. This is one thing out there that is actually free, and I'm not scamming you. I promise you, it's free. It's absolutely free. So give me a like, give me a subscribe. You know, so I need some subscribers. You know, I want to show some of these Milli Vanillis that the authentic creators out there can do it too. I don't have to read off a script. It's funny too, because the guy wears glasses, and you can see him. You can see the reflection in the glasses. You can see the whole script as he's reading it. Is it possible that it's him? It's his work? No, because you know these. Yeah, no, I don't know. Whatever. Just whatever. It is what it is. It's gonna rain, so I gotta get in. Okay, that's it. That's it.